Let's talk about Missouri, what's happening there. Republicans are trying to redistrict there. They want to wipe out the congressional district of Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. They want that entire state to be red. What Donald Trump has been doing is telling red states, yo, change your maps, change your maps. And so now we're seeing that take place in Texas. Today in California, the legislature passed the measure of California Governor Newsom. Now it's going to go to the voters to actually vote on changing the maps there as well. But again, what Republicans are trying to do, they want to change the maps. You see what happened in Texas is pick up seats. They want to do it in Missouri. They want to do it in Ohio. They want to do it in Florida as well. And so these things are continuing to mount and mount and mount. Joining us right now are a couple of guests, State Representatives Mark Sharp and David Tyson Smith. Glad to have both of you here. So give us a sense, first of all, Mark, I want to start with you. Give us a sense, what is their plan in Missouri? If you pull up the map in Missouri, it's a lot of red. You got a couple of blue spaces there. But Republicans there, they want to wipe out the Democrats, including Congressman Cleaver. They want to wipe out the black member of Congress in St. Louis, Wesley Bell, and they want to wipe out Cleaver in Kansas City.
Well, the plan right now, thanks for having us on, Roland. The plan right now for Democrats in Missouri is to make sure that we're making the right phone calls, the right emails, organizing, having these meetings, as it was said earlier on your show, having these rallies to show just exactly how heinous and how atrocious what the Trump administration is asking of Missouri Republicans. And this is just completely egregious, and it goes against even Republican values from just 4 years ago, or just 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, first of all, let's just be real clear, David, and I'm real clear. These Republicans, they have no morals, they have no values, no principles, no ethics, no integrity, no credibility. They don't care. They'll do whatever the hell it is that they want to do, and so it does not matter. That's what you see going on right here. And so they will exercise raw power, and when their dear leader, their cult leader tells them to do it, then they're going to follow.
Absolutely, Roland. You're absolutely right, and thanks for having us on. You know, and I say to my Republican colleagues, it's time to have courage. It's time to have valor. You know, everyone walks around the state capitol as if they're statesmen. Now is the time to do the right thing. Everybody knows it's wrong. These Republicans know it's wrong. They go home at night, they talk to their wives, they know it's wrong. They have got to do the right thing and stand up, because we're going to say no, and we're going to stand up, and we're going to do everything we can to put an end to this. We're not going to lay down and let them just roll over the state like this and use Missouri as their puppet.
Okay, so what can you do? We saw in Texas where, Mark, if Democrats on the Senate had the guts, all 11 would walk out so they can break quorum. We saw in the House as well. Listen, you know, the Republicans control your legislature. Is there anything that y'all can actually do legislatively to stop this from happening?
Well, thanks for the question, Roland. The Republicans have already showed their demonstration to roll over Democrats in either chamber, whether it's the House or in the Senate. And just most recently, at the end of our last regular session, they used the previous question technique to kill off debate and to end filibusters on several bills where they're overturning the will of the people on previous statewide votes. So they've already demonstrated they have no problem doing that. And without that filibuster technique that we have in the Senate, it's going to be pretty tough to stop anything that's coming our way if a special session is called. And again, we want to ask and urge Governor Kehoe and other Republican leaders, as the Speaker in the House, John Patterson, to really reconsider. I mean, Missouri Democrats and Republicans have had really good working relationships over the past 5 or 6 sessions that I've been in Jeff sitting. Passing something like this is the nuclear option. It'll be nearly impossible for Democrats to work with Republicans in the upcoming future sessions.
So, so what are your options then? Is it what, just to rally people and hope and appeal to these folks' goodwill? I mean, that doesn't work. I mean, they are going to do whatever Trump tells them to do. So what are the options here? Is it to hope the courts, like in Texas, hope the courts intervene?
That is an option, but there's something else we can do, Roland. The civil rights movement worked because we hit people in the pocketbook, right? And you're absolutely right. They're not going to do the right thing out of the tenderness of their hearts or out of a searing of conscience. What we need to do is we need to take a stand and say, you know what? If this passes, we're voting no on virtually every bill that comes down the pipe after that, because they need Democrat votes in a lot of bills. There's a lot of money moving through that bill. And if we say, you know what, if you're going to do this, we're voting no on the things you want, the things you consider priorities, to wake them up. And when people start losing money, then they'll come to their senses.
So here's the question then, and it has to be put on the table. And that is, are your white Democratic lawmakers going to do that? I mean, the problem in Texas was you had a lot of these white Democratic lawmakers who said they were only going to sit out for one session. It wasn't going to be longer than that. Then they were all going back. And so how is the Black Caucus there in Missouri? What are you saying to the members that, guys, listen, the way, and look, Dr. King talked about it in his last sermon on April 3rd, 1968 at Mason Temple, when he talked about redistribute the pain, economic withdrawal. And so do you believe there's a pathway for, frankly, your fellow Democrats, your non-black Democrats, to actually stand with African Americans to do what you just described?
Well, I think there's a chance for that to happen, absolutely. We don't have to convince members of the Missouri Legislative Black Caucus. We already know how important and what this means, and we're willing to stay in this fight for however long it takes. And the one unique thing about Missouri is we're trying to flip so many seats in the Missouri House, and a lot of these seats are 50-50 seats. So it would be a tall order for maybe some of our white counterparts in the Democrat Party to be able to hang in there and not work with our Republicans across the aisle and vote no on generally just about almost any piece of legislation that comes through. Because, like Representative Smith said, there are so many 50-50 bills that we vote on every day that, and quite frankly, require some Democrat support. So that is one option, and probably our best option. Only problem is it's after the fact.
Well, again, I just think that you're right. They have to pay economically. They have to pay a price, and folks have to be willing to go to the mat. And I just don't think that there's any other way, because as long as these folks have power, as long as they are in control, and I keep saying this, and I know people get tired of me saying this, but also until you have a massive organized and mobilized resistance there in Missouri, just like in Texas and just like in Georgia, what happened there, what they did there, that's the only way you break these folks back. But they have been able to consolidate power because they've taken advantage of people not voting, sitting out elections, and then they're able, by having the power, then gerrymander the state to guarantee themselves to be able to maintain that power.
Roland, one thing I'm encouraged by is, I've talked to people around the state. I talked to people in the Plaza area, which is close to where Representative Sharp represents. And we did a poll. Someone said, how many people it's your first time here? And about 40% of the hands went up. These are white people. Okay, this is not a majority of black audience. And there's a new energy out there. And people are sick of the Trump administration. It's not just a black issue. I mean, I don't believe Trump is planning on leaving the White House. And he needs the House so he can consolidate his power, as you mentioned. He cannot be allowed to keep control of the House. And I think there's so much energy out there. There's so many new faces getting involved. And it's about harnessing that energy, because I believe he can be stopped. And he needs to be stopped, because we cannot allow this man to continue his role over this country.
And look, when I say mobilize and organize, I don't mean just black people. I'm telling you, and I've said this here. I was speaking at the Milwaukee Business Council today. And I said, and it was a diverse room, and it was white folks and black folks and Latinos, Asian Americans. And I said point blank, I said, the white folks in this room, y'all are going to have to step up to make these changes. And so, listen, Fan Lou Hamer said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's the time for white folks in Missouri to say they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and mobilize and go talk to their friends, their families, their church members and coworkers. Because what these folks are doing is pure evil. Well,
just real quick, one thing. I mean, we are seeing a good a good combination of folks at these rallies. For example, here in my district at local IBEW, there was a crowd of 400, 500 people. A lot of them were white Democrats. And Kansas City isn't typically an area we have to worry about in Missouri. But it's going to be a challenge upon us Democrats to make sure that our message is being really enhanced across the state of Missouri, especially along the I-70 highway between Kansas City, Columbia, and St. Louis, because that's where we really have a lot of strength at.
All right, then, gentlemen, I certainly appreciate it. Like I said to Commissioner Lisa Simmons, keep up the fight, because we need fighters on the battlefield, because it's a whole different, there's a lot of battles happening, being fought at the same time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Back to my panel, and I'll start with you, Joy, here. The point just made there are battles happening everywhere. The Republicans are doing this because they are scared to death. They are scared of losing control of the House. They do not want a Speaker of the House, Hakeem Jeffries. They need Mike Johnson to be in control. And as I said there, it's time for white folks to rally and do what they need to do, as opposed to black folks having to always run point and have the righteous indignation and the anger. It's time for them to rise up.
Absolutely. This is an attack on them. To be clear, they are being harmed in many of these fights as well. Tariffs are closing a lot of their businesses, closing a lot of their farms. Immigration fights are doing that as well. White women who've changed their name, black women, anyone who's changed their name. We have House Republicans who passed a bill to make it more difficult for them to vote. We have a Secretary of Defense that's sharing social media out there that says they want to repeal the 19th Amendment. And we know those things aren't going to happen, but they could. And we have people in power who are fighting for that. This is the white Americans' problem, not just our problem. We're seeing it on streets in D.C., these streets that have been gentrified. A lot of these neighborhoods are filled with white residents. They're feeling like their neighborhoods are being overrun by a federal force, National Guard, that have no business being here. They're the ones outside protesting. I don't know if you saw the video from Union Station. Not organized protest, spontaneous protests of people furious. They see Donald Trump as the biggest threat to them, not local crime. So these are white Americans. All of us have to be in, especially them.
Yeah, look, I mean, I have made this, I've said this repeatedly, Nola, and people keep asking me, and you hit me, and it's like, hey, what's it going to take? And I said it. I said, folk are going to have to hit rock bottom. They're going to have to, you're going to have high food prices, high tariffs. You're going to have all this sort of stuff. This stuff ain't changing until white folk realize that they're getting screwed. We know what black folks are. I still want our people maximizing our vote, but you're not going to see the change you need until these white Americans, frankly, get off their asses and say enough is enough.
And I keep thinking about the night of the election, and we were all in your studio, Roland. And once we were realizing what happened, you know, the energy shifted in the room because we knew what was about to happen. We knew the price that we would have to pay for other people's decisions. And Joy is 100,000% correct. Black people are exhausted because we knew we were going to have to clean up the mess. But this time, we cannot clean up other people's mess. You know what I'm saying? Not alone. It's going to take a lot of other folks to get us out of this situation that the majority of Black folks did not get ourselves into. And that really is part of the exhaustion. And I do think that it's time for Black folks to shake that exhaustion off. You know, for the folks who have been at home, for the folks who have been just feeling like they don't want to get involved, they don't want to think about it. 26 will be here in 5 minutes. I know that we're already in September, and it's going to be the end of the year, and 26 is going to be here. As tired and frustrated as we are, and while other Americans need to clean up their own mess, they can't do it without us. So we have to shake off the exhaustion, and we need to figure out where can we get in to help fix this problem. What I mean by that is, I'm sitting here in DC. I am actually sitting here in an area where it is heavy military presence. And I'm also questioning, why in the hell am I still in the office and why am I not at home? Because it's going to be dark by the time I get home. But I'm afraid because the military's outside and Trump is rolling around because he wants to feel important like a general, right? So these are the consequences of other people's choices, but we still have to get involved. We have to brush off the exhaustion and get in this fight.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.